Okay. All right. Well, thank you again for everybody joining us this afternoon. Appreciate you taking time out of your day to hear a little bit more about Brekke Tours and how we can help you plan the perfect vacation to Scandinavia in 2026. For those of you that have never spoken with anybody here at Brekke Tours or just, don't know who we are, my name is Amanda Hancock, and I've been with Brekke Tours for almost 20 years. So, um, if you have questions, I'm hoping at the end of the presentation I can answer those for you. If not, then we will reach out at the end or after the presentation. We'll reach out to everybody via email and answer any questions that you may have directly that I don't know the answers to. So, all right. So again, for those of you that maybe don't know much about Brekke Tours and who we are and our connection to Scandinavia, we were actually founded in 1956 when Arnie Brekke, a student from Norway, worked his way through graduate school in America by conducting summer tours in Europe. We are a family-owned company and we're located in Grand Forks, North Dakota. We offer a wide variety of products and services such as our own escorted tours, independent travel packages, customized tours for individuals, families, and groups, heritage travel, and cruises. Our goal here at Brekke Tours is simply to strengthen the cultural and ethnic ties between North America and Scandinavia by creating meaningful travel experiences. So why visit Scandinavia? Why do people want to go there? And there are many reasons. A lot of them are, based on the individual, but I've summed up a few here. First is the natural beauty and phenomenon. So you've got glaciers, fjords, mountains, forests, the midnight sun, the northern lights. All of these can be found in Scandinavia. Scandinavia also has a truly rich history filled with Vikings, kings and queens, wars, great wealth, hardships, and so much more. Now, the culture of the Scandinavian countries are largely unique, and but they do share some similarities. Nature, family, education, and hard work are all highly valued by the folks living in Scandinavia. And most Scandinavians speak very good English, making it an easy place to get around on your own. Speaking of which, the public transportation in Scandinavia is very good. With buses, trains, and low-cost flights to choose from, it's easy to get from point A to point B. And the next thing is, of course, the food. You've got fresh seafood, freshly baked bread, and fresh fruit are all commonly found throughout Scandinavia. And finally, it's a relatively safe destination. In fact, you may see babies sleeping in their strollers outside of shops and restaurants. So why should you travel with Brekke Tours? Well, first and foremost, we are a full-service Scandinavian specialist. We have 70 years of experience of travel within Scandinavia. We travel to our destinations and on our tours so that we can assist our clients with their vacations. Our escorted tours feature destinations that you won't find on other tours, and you won't find our tours anywhere else. Both escorted tours and independent travel packages can be customized. We can do side trips to visit areas of heritage, add pre or post tour extensions, and if we can't make that work, we can create a completely customized travel itinerary just for you. Now, while on our escorted tours, you won't have to worry about additional expenses for tours or sightseeing activities. What you see on the itinerary is what's included. If you want to add a cruise or combine your trip with a visit to another country while you're overseas, that's not a problem. So our sales staff can help with those arrangements so that you only need one person of contact for your entire vacation. And finally, when you travel with Brekke Tours, you can be sure that you will be treated as a valued client, not just another body in a seat. Our goal is to make your travel experience meaningful, which means providing you with excellent customer service from the first phone call until you return home from your trip. Now, when it comes time to start planning your trip, one of the first considerations is if you should travel with a group or independently. Both provide different experiences, so we've noticed some benefits to each so that you may want to take into account when making a decision. First, we'll talk about the escorted tour benefits. So probably the number one reason to join an escorted tour is that it's a worry-free vacation. You can just sit back and relax. Someone else will do the driving and the luggage handling. Our escorted tours include transportation, first class hotels, most meals, and an array of activities and experiences. You'll also benefit from a knowledgeable and professional guide along the way that will enhance and enrich your vacation by providing cultural information about the country and sites you are visiting, as well as handling all the little details. An escorted tour is perfect for the seasoned traveler as well as those that are traveling outside the US or Canada for the first time. You will also take advantage of group discounts, thus, you get more for your travel budget. Now, on the flip side of that, traveling independently allows you the freedom to travel at your own pace and choose the experiences you want to include. Independent travel is suitable for those who are comfortable traveling alone, may have limited time, or wish to stay in one place and explore the surrounding area. Public transportation is readily available. However, if you need flexibility or wish to enjoy the countryside, renting a car is an excellent option. Although independent packages may appear to be less expensive, please note that costs can quickly mount when adding food, transfers, and activities. Now, for those of you that are interested in traveling on an escorted group tour, I'd like to give you some more information and cover some of the highlights you can expect when traveling with Brekke Tours. And if you're interested more in traveling independently, not to worry, I'll cover this option shortly. No matter which escorted tour you decide to join, there are many key points that are included in all of our tours. The first of which, you're getting a good value for your travel budget. Scandinavia can be expensive, but by taking advantage of group discounts, many clients feel that they receive much more than what they paid for. Most of our tours do involve a bit of walking each day. With that being said, if you do have mobility issues, please call our office and talk to one of our sales agents. We can help ease your concerns and make recommendations suited for your activity level. We do allow for free time in larger cities such as Oslo, Stavanger, Trondheim, Stockholm, Copenhagen. Our tours typically start between 8 and 9 a.m., and we try to have you to the hotel no later than 6 or 7. We also offer luggage handling at most hotels, and our tour director will meet you at the arriving airport and stay with you until you depart the tour. You'll also notice that most of your meals are included in the itinerary. We also try to include special meals such as dinner at a local farm or a unique location. And for your comfort, all of our tours are on first class touring coaches. They have large windows, reclining seats, footrests, and on our larger buses, there are even bathrooms on board. So you can sit back and relax while our wonderful bus drivers chauffeur you around in style. And all of our tours can be customized with pre or post tour extensions within Scandinavia or beyond. And finally, all of our tours, with the exception of Grand Nordic capitals, include visits to Bergen and Oslo, as well as a journey through the fjord country with a fjord cruise and a ride on the Flum Railway. In addition, you'll also get to see a stave church, which is one of the iconic symbols of Norway. So you might want to know who you might be traveling with. Of course, you'll meet a variety of people, but in general, these folks are from the US and Canada. They'll have ethnic ties to Scandinavia, and they enjoy learning new things and seek out new experiences. On tour, you'll meet people that have traveled to other destinations around the world, as well as those that are experiencing their first trip overseas. Some other interests commonly found among our tour participants include history, embroidery, folk music, dancing and singing, hiking, and other outdoor activities. Now, our tour director will typically meet the group at the arriving airport within Scandinavia, and then they'll stay with your group until we arrive at the departing airport. Our tour directors hail from the US as well as Scandinavia, and English is the only language on tour. However, we do try to throw in a little bit of the local language throughout, so those that are inclined can learn some new words or phrases. We also have local guides that will join the group for short periods of time. They are there to provide detailed knowledge about a city, a museum, or historical site. If you're unsure where you will be staying while on tour, not to worry. All the hotels included on our escorted tours are first class or superior tourist class hotels. These hotels are usually found in the heart of major cities, within walking distance to main attractions, so that during your free time you will be perfectly located to explore on your own. Now, in the countryside, we do tend to use hotels along the fjords or situated in the mountains, which is ideal for hiking or relaxing in. And many of the hotels we frequent are historic properties with an interesting history, whether they served as a German headquarters during World War II or a transition from a warehouse into a beautiful waterside property. All the hotels will have private bathrooms with a shower or tub, and you'll also enjoy a Scandinavian breakfast buffet every morning while on tour. And some hotels offer additional amenities such as swimming pools or guest laundry facilities. And provides you a nice opportunity to freshen up while you're traveling. While traveling on one of our escorted tours, you'll primarily get around by a first class motor coach. Now, you could be traveling on one of our larger buses or a smaller one, but you'll travel in comfort either way. They have large windows, reclining seats with footrests, and personal comfort controls for the AC, so you can sit back and let your professional driver get you from point A to point B. We'll also enjoy train rides through magnificent scenery and cruises along the fjords and waters of Scandinavia. And then just to kind of give you a quick overview of what you might expect during a typical day on tour, I put together this little short summary. So you'll start out with a breakfast buffet at the hotel, and then usually you'll depart between 8 and 9, depending on what is scheduled for the day. We do include several stops throughout the day for food, bathroom breaks, and activities. You'll usually spend at most about 2 hours at a time on the bus. Now, while on board the bus, the tour director will keep the group entertained with information, songs, language lessons, and more. And then the group will arrive at the hotel in the evening, and usually there is time for a walk, relaxation, or even a swim before dinner. And before the group goes their separate ways in the evening, the tour director will advise of the departure time for the next day. So now that you know a little bit more about Brekke Tours and what to expect, we'd like to offer some help when it comes to deciding which tour is right for you and your family. So before you choose, you may want to consider the following factors: the travel dates, as well as the length of the tour, what destinations you wish to visit, areas of interest, and of course, what will you do and experience while on tour. So in 2026, Brekke Tours is pleased to offer 15 different tour departures during June, July, and August. Our shortest tour is Splendor of Norway at 9 days, and our longest is Scenic and Historic at 14 days. And most of our tours are 11 days. And in case anybody wants to come back and visit this later, everybody's going to get a recording. So you can just pause it right here and kind of look at the overview of the dates and any of the other slides that you might be interested in. So you don't have to worry about taking notes. So if you are wanting to visit a particular location, then this page may be of assistance. So in 2026, we have two multi-country tours, including the Grand Nordic Capitals and Captivating Scandinavia. And other areas that we often get requests for include Trondheim, Stavanger, southern Norway, including Loftus, Telemark, and the Hardanger areas, as well as Lillehammer. So if you have a particular interest in one of these cities or these areas of Norway, you might want to pause here and take a look at this, and kind of gives you just a quick overview of what tours might fit that bill. All right, and for areas of interest, so here's just a few that I have put together, and it's by no means a complete list. If you do have something in particular that you would like to know about, I would recommend calling us or emailing us and ask about what we might be able to recommend specifically for you. So for the first-time traveler, we recommend the Best of Norway and Spectacular Norway tours, and both of these are 11 days. If you're short on time, then Splendor of Norway might be a better option. And if you want a tour that's a little bit more leisurely, but still includes all of the highlights, Then Norway's fabulous fjords is our recommendations. All of these are great introductory tours to Norway and cover a variety of highlights. Now, if you've traveled to Norway before or are looking for a tour that visits some out of the way places, then majestic southern Norway or delightful Norway might be a good option. And if you want to see it all, then the Grand Nordic Capitals or our Norway Scenic and Historic Tour might work for you. And finally, if you prefer to travel with a small group, limited to 20 or 24 passengers, then I would recommend either our majestic Southern Norway, delightful Norway, or captivating Scandinavia tours. And as you can see from this list, each of our tours offers some unique activities and experiences. So if you're looking for something special, such as a farm visit and a dinner, then perhaps our Best of Norway or Fabulous Fjords or Scenic and Historic tour might be of interest. And if you can't find exactly what you're looking for on our escorted tours, we're happy to suggest an independent pre or post tour extension to make your vacation truly unforgettable. So now that we've talked a little bit more about Brekke Tours, what you can expect on tour, your fellow passengers, we'll delve a little deeper into what you will see and experience while on tour for some of our feature tours for 2026. And we'll start with the Grand Nordic Capitals. So this is a 13-day tour, and you will visit Finland, Sweden, Denmark, and Norway. It's a nice mix of guided sightseeing and independent time in the capital cities, and you'll also get to experience 2 overnight cruises as well as a scenic train ride through the Swedish countryside. Now, beginning in Helsinki, you'll enjoy a sightseeing tour to get familiar with the city before having time to visit museums, explore the harbor, or admire some of the unique architecture. The evening of day 4, you'll have your first sailing from Helsinki to Stockholm on an overnight cruise. You'll arrive in the Swedish capital the next day, where you will be met by a local tour guide for a visit to the Vasa Ship Museum and City Hall. You'll then have the rest of the day to explore and the next full day actually to discover Stockholm at your leisure. Now, on day 7, you can relax on board the train as you travel from Stockholm to Copenhagen through the Swedish countryside. After a night at the Phoenix Hotel, you'll be treated to a sightseeing cruise through Copenhagen's harbor and charming canals. The rest of your day is free to visit sites that interest you, and then the next day you'll enjoy an excursion outside of Copenhagen to Frederiksborg Castle, where you'll get to wander through the museums and gardens. And then on day 10, your morning is free to relax and explore Copenhagen, and that evening you'll depart on your second overnight cruise to Oslo. You'll arrive in Oslo the next morning for a sightseeing tour, followed by free time. And then you'll return home on June 29th, or if you want to experience even more of Norway, why not extend your trip and travel by train to Norway's fjord country and Bergen. So Grand Nordic Capitals is a wonderful tour for those that want to experience the Nordic capitals all in one trip. You can also add a visit to Reykjavik, Iceland, either on your way to Finland or home from Norway, and round out your Nordic adventure. Now, the next tour we're going to talk about is Fabulous Fjords, and we are happy to offer 2 departures of this 12-day tour in 2026, and it allows you to experience 3 of Norway's most famous fjords, the Geiranger Fjord, Sogne Fjord, and Hardanger Fjord. So you'll want to be sure and pack that camera. You'll want to record all the beauty that Norway is famous for. Now you'll start in Norway's capital city of Oslo, and then you'll travel north through Hamar and Lillehammer to Geiranger. You'll cruise the Geiranger Fjord past the famous Seven Sisters waterfall before you turn south and travel through Loen, Flam, Lofthus, and that's located in the Hardanger region of Norway, which is famous for its fruit orchards. And then finally, you'll arrive in Bergen, where you'll spend 2 nights before returning home. In addition to seeing some of Norway's most famous fjords, you'll also get to visit the Glass Cathedral in Hamar, the Winter Olympic sites in Lillehammer, the Brixel Glacier. You'll drive across the Hardanger Bridge, And on sightseeing tours in Oslo and Bergen, you'll visit the Vigeland Sculpture Park and walk through the wooden buildings along the Hanseatic Wharf. Another highlight of this tour is a full free day in Loen, where you can explore the surrounding fjords and mountains, take a ride on the sky lift, or simply relax at the hotel. So, for those that want to see some of Norway's fantastic natural beauty, but still want to enjoy some of the highlights of Norway, this tour is a wonderful travel adventure. All right, our next tour is scenic and historic. So, this one I would recommend if you're planning to only visit Norway once and you want to see it all, then this is a tour that I would highly recommend. So this is one of our longer tours. It's 14 days. It starts in Oslo, and then you'll visit Eidsvoll Manor, where the Norwegian Constitution was signed in 1814, as well as the unique glass cathedral in Hamar before you arrive in Lillehammer. You'll then continue further north with a stop to enjoy lunch at a historical farm as you travel to the mining town of Røros and then further on to Trondheim. You'll also visit Stiklestad, where St. Olaf was killed in 1030, and Falstad, a former prisoner of war camp during World War II. From Trondheim, you'll turn south towards the fjord country. Along the way, you'll drive the amazing Atlantic Ocean Road. You'll overnight on the island of Haholmen. You'll tour Ergen Kistfort, a defensive bunker that was built by the Germans in World War II. You'll also get to cruise the Geiranger Fjord, visit the Brickstone Glacier, and of course ride the famous Flum Railway before you arrive in Bergen, where the tour will end on July 24th. With a perfect blend of history, nature, and Nordic charm, this tour captures the very best and scenic and historic parts of Norway. So, returning in 2026, our majestic Southern Norway tour is an excellent choice for those that are wishing to return to Norway, maybe for a second, third, fourth, however many times, or for those wishing to explore Norway's rugged southern coastline, or for those maybe that want to travel with a smaller group. So, this one we are going to limit it to 20 passengers. So, if you're interested in traveling with a smaller group, this might be an option for you. This tour actually starts in Bergen, and then from there you will travel to Voss, where you will board the Flum Railway. Or I'm sorry, the railway to Flum. It starts in Myrdal. You'll cruise the Ireland Fjord and the narrow fjord to Gudvangen, and then drive to the Hardanger region, known for its lush apple, pear, and cherry orchards. You'll enjoy a night at the Ullensvang Hotel overlooking the fjord before traveling further south to Stavanger. You'll have 2 nights in Stavanger with a full free day to explore family heritage sites, hike to the summit of Pulpit Rock, or simply stroll through the cobblestone streets lined with white wooden houses. After you depart Stavanger, you'll travel along the southern coastline along the North Sea Highway to the charming town of Grimstad. Then you'll travel north to the Telemark region, where you'll tour the West Telemark Museum, the Industrial Museum, where Nazis produced heavy water during World War II, and enjoy lunch at the Fairy Tale Dalen Hotel. Then it's on to Oslo, where the tour will end on July 23rd. So, Majestic Southern Norway would be an ideal tour for those that have been to other areas of Norway or just looking to maybe explore a little bit more. If they have family roots in Stavanger, that sort of thing. So, it's a really nice tour, or just, wanting to do a small group tour. And then the last tour that we'll be talking about just really quickly today is Delightful Norway. This is a 10-day tour, and it discovers Norway at a slower pace, where the emphasis is on unique and fjordside stays and authentic experiences from start to finish. You'll be traveling with a smaller group as well, ensuring a more intimate experience. So, starting in Norway's capital city of Oslo, you'll travel to Telemark, an area rich in cultural traditions. You'll explore the dramatic site of Norway's World War II heavy water sabotage, where powerful history meets striking mountain scenery at Vimmark. before you retire to the Dahlin Hotel, which is one of Norway's most iconic hotel properties. You'll enjoy a scenic drive the next day en route to the coastal city of Stavanger. Explore Stavanger the next morning on a sightseeing tour, followed by time to discover Stavanger on your own. And then for dinner tonight, you'll travel to a tropical island for a feast of the senses. You'll spend time in the lush gardens before savoring dinner surrounded by an oasis. So the next day, you'll depart Stavanger and visit a rose malling artist on your way to Hardanger, again known for its cherry, apple, and pear orchards. Tonight, you'll sleep just steps away from the fjord at the lovely Ullensvang Hotel. Day 8 sees you driving across the Hardanger Bridge, which is 328 feet longer than the Golden Gate Bridge. And then you'll arrive, or actually, you'll depart on the famous Norway in a Nutshell excursion. So you'll travel by train down the Flam Valley, and you'll cruise the majestic Ireland and Narrow fjords, where you'll meet the bus again and travel to Os, which is located just south of Bergen. You'll enjoy the next 2 nights at the stunning Solstrand Hotel with view of the fjords and mountains. And on your final full day in Norway, you have the option to simply relax at the hotel or enjoy a trip to Bergen for sightseeing and shopping. And then on day 10, it'll be time to say farewell to Norway as you're transferred to the Bergen airport for your return flight home. So, Delightful Norway offers a variety of highlights featured on some of our most popular tours, but with the guarantee of traveling with a smaller group. And then also, you get some really unique experiences as well. So, for something really a little different. So, for the sake of time, obviously, I didn't cover all of the details of these tours. If you'd like to read the day-to-day itinerary and see all of the activities and visits included in each tour, I would highly encourage you to visit our website and check out the other tours and just check out the other tours that interest you the most. If you want to check out some of the other tours, you can also find those online. We have plenty that I didn't go over today. And as always, if you have questions or want to talk to one of our staff members about which tour might be right for you, please reach out to us. We're happy to help answer questions, offer advice based on our own travel experiences, or if you need help customizing a tour to suit your needs, we can do that too. Which brings us to our next slide. So if you do want to spend a little bit of extra time in Scandinavia, simply ask us to add an independent pre or post-tour extension. We have several extension packages available, or we can work with you to create a customized package to any of the Scandinavian countries, Faroe Islands, and beyond. Now, for those of you that maybe want to explore Scandinavia at your own pace, we offer a variety of independent travel options, including tour extensions, fjord tours, self-drive tours, adventure tours, and winter packages. Our independent travel options can be found online, or if you prefer to have a customized itinerary created just for you, please contact our office. Now, if you do plan on traveling independently, one of the first considerations is how to get from point A to point B. Traveling on your own means that you may have to deal with the unexpected, and if this is something you wish to avoid, you may want to choose an alternative travel option. Sticking with your budget is another factor when planning your independent vacation. Costs can quickly balloon out of control if you aren't careful. And planning a large itinerary can be quite difficult, especially if you're unfamiliar with the locations and the different options. And it's here that we can really step in and help you out. So we can help take the headache out of planning with our pre-plan independent travel packages, such as always the popular Norway in a Nutshell. This can be done in as little as 3 or 6 or 7 days. You can also customize this package to include additional nights along the way. Now, the Grand Tour of Norway is probably one of my personal favorites. It encompasses a variety of Norway's highlights, includes fjords, fjordside villages, in addition to the cities of Trondheim, Oslo, and Bergen. And there's some out-of-the-way places in there as well, which is what I really like. Nordic Delight is another tour that I really like, especially if you want to spend some time in the Scandinavian capitals, such as Oslo, Copenhagen, and Stockholm. You can also customize this to add extensions to Helsinki, Iceland, or Norway's fjord country. Now, Iceland has become a frequently requested destination, and one of the best ways to see this unique country is to rent a car and drive the Ring Road, which circles the island. And this can be done in as little as 9 days. Now, if you're wanting to see the Northern Lights, you can travel to Tromsø, which is situated in the heart of the Northern Light Zone, for fun and adventure on our Northern Lights Explorer independent winter tour. Or for those wanting to visit Iceland, there's the land of Northern Lights. It's a short getaway with visits to South Iceland, which is an ideal location for searching for the lights. And a nice thing about all of these packages, the planning has been done and these itineraries are tried and true. But again, all of these itineraries can be customized with additional nights, visits to family heritage sites, time for hiking, and more. And for those that you want something completely customized, created with just you in mind, we do offer customized tours for individuals, couples, families, and groups. We can include all the arrangements such as hotels, activities, transportation, and if requested, drivers and guides. Your tailor-made tour is based on your interest, areas of heritage, budget, and more. All it takes to get started is a call or an email to our office, and one of our staff is happy to help you. Now, just to give you some ideas, some of the groups that we've worked with include church groups, museums, the U.S. Lighthouse Association, choirs and bands, both here in the U.S. and in Norway, dancers, World War II themed tours, architecture, quilting, art, music, agricultural tours, and more. So there's a wide variety of themes and interests that we can help you with. And just to kind of, we're just going to talk really briefly about Hurtigruten. It is a great way to see the coast of Norway if that's something, especially if you want to travel up north. It's a very easy way to explore basically anything past Trondheim. So, and what's really nice is that you can combine a land package, such as traveling by train from Oslo to Bergen, and then taking the cruise up to Trondheim in order to explore the Geirangerfjord and the Nidaros Cathedral. Hurtigruten does offer a variety of itineraries as well outside of Norway, including Spitsbergen, Iceland, Greenland, Europe, Antarctica, and more. So if you'd like more details about a particular tour or want to start getting ideas for a customized travel itinerary, you can download a copy of our 2026 brochure from our website. You'll also find a copy of our tour schedule as well as brochures for Hurtigruten. All right. So before I open it up to any questions that you may have, I'm just going to answer a few that were submitted on the registration form, and then I will open it up and try to get as many of those questions answered as I can. We still have quite a bit of time, so I'll just go through these really quickly. Clothing, that's probably our number one question. Casual clothing is the norm for our escorted tours, and you'll want to bring good walking shoes. You will also want to bring a jacket with and perhaps a raincoat. Other things you may want to pack include an umbrella or poncho, snacks, medication, including over-the-counter medication like aspirin, sunscreen, and a small day pack where you can store sweaters, water bottle, and your snacks. So just really briefly. And then what documents do I need? You'll need a valid passport book to travel to Scandinavia. You will want to make sure your passport is valid for at least 6 months past your return date. Now, we have had questions about the EES program for Europe. Now, EES is scheduled to be fully implemented in April of this year. And once we receive more information, we'll advise all of our clients traveling to Norway or to Europe this summer. Another one that we're getting questioned on is the ETAIS, which is something different, but that is not scheduled to be started until the fourth quarter of this year. So if you're traveling during the summer, that's something that you're not going to have to worry about at this point. But if you're traveling, maybe you're planning a Northern Lights trip at the end of the year, that might be something that you want to check back into. But at this point, we don't have any information or a release date yet. So that would just be something that we'd have to address later on in the year. Um, how much walking is required? So a typical day on an escorted tour will have about 2 to 3 hours of walking, but it's broken up over the day. So at some stops, you may only have a 5-minute walk, whereas on others, it may be 10 to 15. So for those with mobility issues, you always have the option of whether or not you wish to take part. Wheelchairs and motorized scooters are not suitable for our tours. Can I get flights from other cities? Of course. So if you live outside the Minneapolis area and wish to join one of our tours, it's not a problem. We are happy to provide you with flight options from your home city, whether you live on the East Coast, Canada, or even Alaska. So if you'd like a quote, just simply contact our office and we'd be happy to provide that to you. Will I have free time while on tour? Of course. So all of our tours do include a bit of free time so that you have the opportunity to pursue your own interests. Many people take this time to explore art museums, go shopping, or visit with friends and relatives in the area. If additional time is needed for a particular visit, we can make those arrangements with you prior to departing the US. And can I add extra days to a tour? It's not a problem. So our staff is more than happy to help you with these plans, from adding an extra hotel night to booking an extended stay in Norway or figuring how to get from point A to point B and then back again is what we're all about. Okay, have a few more questions. How are single travelers accommodated? So if you are traveling solo on one of our escorted tours, you have a couple of options. First, you can request a single room for a supplement, or if you are open to sharing a room with another traveler, provided there is another single traveler of the same gender that also wishes to share a room, we will put you two in touch before the tour departs to make sure that you will both enjoy your trip. Should I exchange money before departing? So, with the exception of Finland, who uses the euro, kroner is the currency used within each country in Scandinavia, and they are not interchangeable. So, if you're planning to travel to Norway, you can obtain Norwegian kroner at your arrival airport, either by exchanging US dollars or simply withdrawing an equivalent amount of kroner from the ATM. You can check the current exchange rates at awanda.com, and most places in Scandinavia will accept major credit cards such as Visa and MasterCard. In fact, some vendors don't even accept cash anymore. So it's a good idea to have a credit card or two along when traveling. So, how do we handle food allergies? If you're traveling with us on an escorted tour, breakfast at the hotel is included each morning. This will be a buffet style breakfast with a variety of options available. Dinner at the hotel is also usually a buffet. We do ask all of our clients to advise of any food allergies or aversions so that we can offer substitute when there is a fixed menu planned, or if you have anything that like cross contamination, that sort of thing, so we can advise hotels. So hotels and restaurants are happy to offer other selections as long as they are notified ahead of time. Do I need a special plug for devices? So in Scandinavia, like most of the world, runs on a 220 volt, while the US runs on 110. So if your device is dual voltage, all you will need is the plug adapter. And so that is this black one that's down here. However, if your device is only run on 110, you will need a converter, which is a larger device and typically costs around $25 to $35, whereas an adapter will cost you maybe 5 or 10. And then finally, driving in Scandinavia. So if you want to set off on your own on a self-drive tour, you are in luck. Scandinavia is relatively easy to get around in. There's good roads and highways. You do not need an international driver's license to drive in any of the Nordic countries. You also don't need a visa to travel in Scandinavia. All you need is your passport. All right, so I'm going to put this up here and let me open up this chat for everybody. All right, so down in the bottom right-hand corner, you will find a little box that you can type questions in, and I will try to get as many of those answered in the next 20 minutes or as long as my voice holds out. And if I don't know the answer to something, I'll be brutally honest because I don't know everything. But we will try and answer those questions afterward. And then if there's anything that you had submitted on the registration form that was specific to you or to your family or to something that you just wanted specific knowledge for, we'll reach out to you via email after the live webinar is concluded and get those answers to you. So I know I didn't cover all of the questions that were submitted. I tried to answer just some general ones that multiple people had asked. So I'm trying to share as many as possible. So for luggage holding at the hotel, how many bags will they hold? I have not had any hotel refuse to hold multiple bags for me. And so when I've had them hold luggage for me, it's been, like I have a backpack that I usually travel with, and then maybe a carry-on and a suitcase. So I think it just would depend on the particular hotel. But as long as it's not like you're traveling with all of your belongings and you have 50 suitcases, I think you will be okay. How many travelers are on a typical tour? Again, this can vary depending on the tours. Our more popular tours, such as Best of Norway, Spectacular Norway, we may have about 35 to 40 people. And then some of our more out of the way tours are like our smaller group tours. You can expect maybe 20 to 24. So a couple of people asked that. Okay. Okay, so the family heritage sites. So if they're depending on how you plan to travel. So if you are traveling on one of our escorted tours and you know that we will be in Stavanger and you have family heritage sites in Stavanger and you would like to try and visit those while you are there, we are happy to help you make those arrangements ahead of time. It's so much easier if we do it ahead of time. So you can either maybe skip the sightseeing tour that day and rent a car, go visit, come back to the hotel that night, everything's fine. If you need a little bit more time, maybe we would recommend a different tour that would end in Stavanger so that you could take that extra time to explore those family heritage sites. In the realm of a tour, we can try to help you either make a day trip or something like that. It really is dependent upon the situation. So if you do have questions about planning a heritage site visit in the realm of a tour, I would recommend maybe reaching out to us so that we can offer the best options for you. Now, on an independent or a customized itinerary, which kind of go hand in hand, we can help you however, you want to spend 3 nights, near your family heritage sites. That's not a problem. We can help you with that. So kind of a separate situation. But again, we would just need to know ahead of time so that we can offer you the best options. Any visits to stave churches. So all of our tours will include a visit to a stave church with the exception of the Grand Nordic capitals because we are just visiting Helsinki, Stockholm, Copenhagen, and Oslo. Now, with that being said, if that's a tour that you are interested in and you want to see a stave church, there is a stave church in Oslo that you can visit at the Norwegian Folk Museum. So, so that is an option. Or if you want to spend a little bit more time in Norway, you could do that and visit whatever stave church you want. Okay, so the EES and ETAIS, two separate programs. It is an entry and exit program that Europe has started. And so the EES is currently rolling out as we speak. It will be fully operational come April of this year. So when you arrive in Iceland, if you're traveling on one of our escorted tours, because all of the flights are on Iceland Air, you will stop in Iceland and basically it's just a little bit more detailed information when you go through passport control. So they will take your picture and they will scan, I think, your fingerprints as well. So it's just a little bit more involved. But there are supposed to be kiosks that handle all that stuff. So again, the information is still not readily available, and there still seems to be some miscommunication, I guess. Things are changing because it hasn't been fully implemented yet. But we're hoping that in April, when it does completely roll out, we'll have more information. The ETAIS, that's been scheduled to be implemented for years now, and it has not taken effect yet. And at this point in time, it is not scheduled to be rolled out until fourth quarter of this year. That's all the information that we have at this point. So I don't even know um, what date or anything like that is. So two separate programs, but the EES is something that you just do at the airport when you arrive in Iceland, or if you're flying on a different carrier, it'd be when you arrive in Europe. So, but once we get more information on that, we will share that with our clients. Okay. Luggage size and cost. So if you are flying on one of our escorted tours, you will get a free checked bag included as part of the airfare. If and that luggage is just going to be your standard large roller bag. Can't weigh more than 50 pounds, and I believe the length, width, and height can't be over 62 inches. So, leg room on your coaches. So much better than I feel like you get on airlines. I am almost 6 feet tall, and I've never had any issues with leg room on the buses. So if you are, quite tall and long-legged, then that might be something that we want to talk to you about. But I mean, we've never had anybody, at least in the years that I've been working here, complain about legroom on the coaches. So I feel like it is pretty adequate. Do we have a Northern Lights tour? We do not have a guided Northern Lights tour for Norway. If you are looking for a guided Northern Lights tour, there are some that are offered for Iceland. But if you are open to doing an independent option to see the Northern Lights, then we can offer you a variety of things. One of my personal favorites is some of the glass igloos that they have in Finland. They are just amazing. So if that's something that you are interested in, please reach out to us. We can offer you a variety of things. Do you require full payment at the time of reservation? When will you release 2027 tour dates? Okay, so no, when you make your reservation, you will pay a deposit, and then your final payment will be due 90 days prior to departure. So depending on when you want to travel. If you are taking an independent option, the deposit is a little bit less. For escorted, it's 600. For independent travel, it's 500. But your final payment date is still 90 days prior to whenever you depart the US or Canada. 2027 dates. Those are actually coming out very quickly. We already have dates planned. I just need to get them down on a piece of paper, and then we can put those up on our website. So. Oh, the plug adapter that they use in Norway. Okay, so let me go back to this screen. And so this is the converter. So this is actually the plug that they use in Scandinavia and Norway. It's a 2 round prong plug. And so your normal, your normal US plug would plug into the back here with the two um, long prongs, whatever. And so this is what you would need as long as your device is dual voltage. So if that's the case, then this is all you need. It's pretty inexpensive. If your device is not dual voltage, what comes to mind for me is a hair straightener, hair curling irons, that sort of thing. Then you'll need a converter. So those are usually a bit more expensive. Okay, gratuities for guides, local guides, and drivers. So we leave that up to our passengers. If they wish to offer gratuity, that's great. If not, then that is their choice. We do offer some guides in our helpful hints booklet that you can find online. And then we also include a copy of our helpful hints booklet for anybody that's traveling with us. So if and that amount varies depending on the services that people are providing. Do we have any tours of the Lofoten Islands? Unfortunately, no escorted tours, but again, we have some independent options to travel up there, and then also Hurtigruten is a great way to get up to the Lofoten Islands. So we do have some options for you. It just wouldn't be guided. But on the flip side of that is that there are a lot of activities that you can take from the Lofoten Islands, and those are guided. So I guess you could say it would be a partially guided tour because your activities would be guided, but like getting around would not be. I hope that makes sense. Um, okay. Luggage and cost. I think I answered that. Maybe. I hope. Okay. Travel insurance. So yes, we can offer travel insurance, and that information is actually found on our website. And then if you are interested, we can offer group travel insurance for people traveling on our escorted group tours. If you're traveling independently, we have a couple options, and we'd be happy to send you that information. That's not a problem, and I can have somebody in our office send that to you if you're interested in that. Um, Okay, we have how many people are on escorted tour? I kind of answered that. If you have a family of six, how many other folks? And again, it really just depends on the tour that you're looking at. But the maximum that we really allow on any tour is 42. We usually use a larger bus, and we like to leave empty seats. So do your tour guides meet in Minneapolis or only in Norway? So they will meet you at your arrival airport, either in Norway or Scandinavia. So a lot of our times, our tour guides, if they're from the U.S., we will send them over early so they can kind of get over the jet lag, and they'll be fresh and ready to meet you, and then they will stay there all summer. So they don't come back home and then fly over. Okay. All right, size and number of suitcases. Okay, so on our escorted tours, we allow one large suitcase, so your standard big roller bag, like you would check with the airlines, and then a carry-on bag. So usually your carry-on, it's something that you can stow overhead in the bus, and then your larger suitcase will go under the bus. So a lot of people will bring backpacks or like tote bags so they can put, just things that they might need for the day, maybe a jacket, a water bottle, that sort of thing. Okay. For your flights, do you get to pick your layover? Can we pick seats? It depends. So if you're traveling just on our escorted tour group blocks, those are going to be in economy seats. We can sometimes select seats ahead of time, but we can't guarantee them because the airlines have the final say. So we can request, if you want a window seat, and if you're traveling with other people, a window and adjacent, or an aisle and adjacent, we can request those kinds of things, but they will determine where everybody is seated. Now, all of the flights with our escorted tours are on Iceland Air, and so you will have a stopover in Iceland on the way to Norway or Scandinavia, and on the way back as well. So you'll have at least one layover en route. If you choose to travel with another carrier, say Scandinavian Airlines or even like Delta, that sort of thing, that would just depend on the specific flight, because they have different layovers. For Delta is usually Amsterdam, and then or Charles de Gaulle. SAS, you might go to Copenhagen first. So really, it just kind of depends on the airline. But if you do prefer to, I don't really want to travel on Iceland Air, I'd rather travel on SAS, or I'd rather travel on Delta, that's something that we can help you with. And that way you do get a little bit more flexibility when you're purchasing flights directly. Hope that makes sense. How successful are you in finding travel partners? We're actually, I would say we're pretty successful. I mean, we do get quite a few solo travelers, and for those that are interested, if you are a people person and you like sharing, being around people, then yeah. Um, so I would say try it. So, uh, is the Edvard Grieg Museum in Bergen? I'm not sure what the part OG time means. Um, so in Bergen on the sightseeing tour, we no longer include a visit to the Edvard Grieg Museum, and there's a very good reason why. They don't like groups. So it seems like they're trying to limit the number of people in the house at the same time, and so they limit it to 15 people. So they don't really like for us to come in, with 35 people anymore. So that is something that if you would like to visit, we can certainly help you get out there, and we can, help you get tickets and find out all that information about. But it's not something that we include on our sightseeing tour in Bergen any longer. So, is there a minimum number for you to develop a customized independent tour? No. So, independent tours are for one person, for 20 people. It really just kind of depends. So, if it's something that you have, just you and your immediate family want to go, or you and your immediate family and your cousins and your cousins' cousins, and you guys all want to get together and travel together, great. We'd be happy to help you. Okay, what is considered casual wear in Scandinavia? Jeans and maybe a button-down shirt or like a sweater be perfectly acceptable. 99% of the places that you go in Scandinavia. So I can't seem to find the additional trip options. So if you are on our website, I'm just going to hop over there real quick so I can pull that up. I can tell you exactly where to go. So under our tours and cruises, right underneath our escorted tours, you will see tour extensions, and that is where you can find just some of our pre-packaged, I guess you could say, tour extension options. So there'll be Bergen and Trondheim, Copenhagen, Oslo, Fjords and Faroes, that sort of thing. So if you visit our website, it's right underneath. You'll hover over the tours and cruises menu, and then it's the second one down, the tour extensions. So I hope that helps. Um, okay. Do you have agents specializing in designing family trips about 10 people? That would be me. So I actually primarily work with larger family groups. And so I would be happy to help you, Joyce. So if you just want to send us a quick email, this is our main office email, and then they'll get you over to me, and I'd be happy to help you. EES. Oh, what does that stand for? Exit entry system, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what it is. So, are there seat assignments on the plane? Yes, but you may not get those until you check in, especially if you are flying on a group air block with our escorted tours. So, if you are flying independently, then yes, we can certainly help you select seats. Sometimes airlines do charge for the seat assignment. It just depends. But if that's a question that you have, we are happy to help you um, try and get that worked out ahead of time. So yes, if you are flying on Iceland Air will always stop in Keflavik when they are doing a transatlantic flight. So, which is a really nice thing if you want to do an Iceland stopover. So if you've never been to Iceland, it is completely different than any of the other Scandinavian countries. So it looks like you're on a different planet. It's amazing. It's a large national park is kind of usually what I say it is. So yes, but yes, if you're flying on Iceland Air Transatlantic, you will always stop in Iceland on the way there and on the way back. For plug-in chargers like a phone or a camera, yes. Most of the time you just need an adapter because most of the newer phones and cameras and things like that are dual voltage. So yes, so I think you would be fine with just an adapter. How early should we book? Right now. No. The sooner you book, the more availability there is. If you are traveling independently, it's kind of the same thing. The earlier you book, the better your chances are of getting the hotels that you want, the flights that you want, all that stuff. So I always say sooner is better than later. But if you can't make a decision now and you need to wait until later, then, that's just kind of how it is. So, coverage for healthcare that may be needed during the tour. That is something that travel insurance would help a lot with that. So, as far as your own personal healthcare, that would be something that you'd have to discuss with your provider. But travel insurance is something that we definitely recommend for people traveling. So, does laundry at a hotel cost money? Do I need to bring detergent? So, If you have a lot of the hotels do offer laundry service, but it's one that they do, and you pay per item of clothing, so per piece. So you have a shirt and it might be, 50 kroner or something like that. Um, Guest laundry facilities that you do it yourself are very few and far between in Scandinavia. So they're rather difficult to find. What I usually tell my client is to bring things that you might be able to hand wash in the sink. Whenever you are in a hotel for 2 nights, the first night, take 10, 15 minutes, do a little bit of laundry in the sink, hang it up to dry, and by the time you leave, 2 nights later, those clothes should be dry and ready to go again. So that is my recommendation. And then with that, yes, you would need to bring your own soap. So where do we pass through immigration? So you would pass through passport control in Iceland on the way to Scandinavia if you're flying on our escorted tours. Now, when you get back to the US, you would go through customs in Minneapolis. Is there time to visit the Edvard Grieg Home Museum? Yes. So usually if on our escorted tours, we have a 2-hour walking tour that usually will start by 9 or 10 in the morning. So you'll be done by lunchtime, and then you have the whole afternoon free. So plenty of time to visit the Edvard Grieg home. From Minneapolis to Norway, if you are flying into Bergen or Oslo, usually just one layover, and that's the layover that's in Iceland. If you're coming back or if you're flying to Trondheim or Stavanger or one of those other cities that's not Bergen or Oslo, you may have 2 layovers. So it really just kind of depends on where you're flying to, but at least 1, sometimes 2, depending on where you're flying. What is the aircraft seating configuration? Ooh, that will depend highly on the aircraft. From most of my experience flying internationally, it's 3, 4, 3 in some of those larger planes. And so you'll have 3, next to the window, 4 in the middle of the body of the aircraft, and then 3 on the other side. So, but again, that's really going to depend on the aircraft and the carrier. There is a fee for single occupancy, and then if you do find a buddy, yes. So initially, we would put the single room supplement on your invoice. If you find somebody, or if we find somebody that you guys can share a room, then we would just remove that, hopefully before your final payment. So. CPAP requirements. Okay, so if you are flying with the CPAP, we just need like I believe it's the make and model number, and there's one other piece of information that I can't think of off the top of my head, but it's just make and model number and something else that we have to provide to the airlines no later than 72 hours before you fly. So it's pretty easy, and that could just be, you could just send us an email and then we'll send that to the airlines. It's not that big of a deal. Does luggage transfer all the way through Oslo? Yes. So if you are flying from Minneapolis to Oslo on Iceland Air, your luggage will go all the way through. You'll pick it up in Oslo. You don't have to collect it in Iceland. Not a problem. So paper documents are electronic. So this depends on how you are traveling. If you are traveling independently, then most of the time we send those electronically, because you will need to provide vouchers and things like that to the hotels and to the suppliers. So a lot of times, most of the time, they just want to scan a QR code, or they just want to see your last name. So we just send those electronically. If you're traveling on a group escorted tour, we send you or we will mail you travel documents with information, and so that will be mailed 1 to 2 weeks before you depart. So, so again, it just depends on how you're traveling. Are there meals amenity kits provided in economy on Iceland Air? Not anymore. So Iceland Air has meals for purchase that you can buy on board, unless you are sitting in their Saga class. So in economy class, they do not offer complimentary meals. They do offer complimentary snacks. Um, so um, you can purchase meals prior or ahead of time as well. So I have done that for myself and my family when we're traveling on Iceland Air. I just go to their website and I purchase a meal, and then when we get on board, they deliver it. So it's pretty easy. Now, on the other carriers, I do believe SAS and I believe Delta as well still offers a meal on international flights. All right, I know we're a little bit over, but if anybody has any other questions, please send those in. And then before we depart, I will leave you guys looking out over Flum, which is our hometown, I guess you could say, because this is where Arnie Brekke is from. So if you do think of any other questions after the fact, that's usually what I do. I think of something, 20 minutes after. Please call us or email us, and we'd be happy to answer those questions. Again, I apologize if I didn't answer everything today. If you do have the specific questions that you submitted on the registration form, we'll reach out to you probably in the next day or two with some more information on that. And if you do have, you want to talk to us about a tour or arranging a family heritage site visit, please email us or call us. We'd be happy to discuss some options for you. And yeah. So, we did have one more question. If you're departing on out of Charlotte, North Carolina, oh, um, that is a good question. I would say probably SAS or maybe Delta. But that would be a good question for our airline department, who would be happy to look up some options for you. Um, I don't know off the top of my head what would be the best airline, but that's why we have an air department to check out those options for you, and we can get you some quotes. And yeah, so we'd be happy to do that. But I think that was it. Thank you all again for joining us. I'll be sending out a copy of the recording here in a little while, or maybe tomorrow morning, depending on how long it takes to process. So in the meantime, thank you all again. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon, and I hope to see you in Norway or Scandinavia this summer, or maybe in 2027. So thank you again.